Maybe. Trying to go live. Good morning, everyone. Oh, goodness, tech issues. Gotta love it. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Drop-In Morning Show. We are getting started here bright and early. It is Tuesday, March 1st, and I am so excited to be welcoming a new guest to the show this morning. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn, and we are very, very appreciative for those of you who may not be listening to us live but have subscribed and rated and reviewed our podcast. Teach Where I Talk podcast is an easy spot for you to go every single day, regardless of where you are in your day, to pop in some headphones and listen to the show after the fact. We have good news stories for you, holidays for you galore. Who knew that March 1st was so full of holidays? And then, of course, we also have some great discussion blending into our theme this week, which is all about making connections between research and actually putting action steps into our schools. So we'll be right back. Feel free to throw your good morning messages and any questions that are on your mind or heart in the comments, and we'll be right back to get into some dialogue. Good morning, everyone. Sorry for a rough start. Usually I feel like we transition quite well. So today is just one of those days. Happy Tuesdays. Our mistake for the day has already happened. Sarah, I know you are new to Daily Drop-In, but we always joke, like, you get one hiccup a day. We just took care of everyone's hurdle. We're done. Congratulations. It's all taken care of. It'll be a good day ahead. Good. Sarah, I'm really glad that you are here joining the show. I do see a comment this morning that it's someone's birthday in our private Facebook group. For those of you who are not in our private group, you can go join at teachbettergroup.com. Happy birthday. Sarah, as we are wishing our community happy birthday, happy March 1st, I'd love to learn a little more about you for our network who may not be connected to you yet.
Sure, yeah. Hi. Thank you for having me. I'm really delighted to join the show today. My name's Sarah Lane. I am the Director of Research and Curriculum at an organization called Roots of Empathy, which is a charitable organization. Then we deliver empathy-based programs in schools and childcare centers throughout the world for children ages 5 to 13. So
I love it. Look at this. We're going to talk about empathy today. We're talking about a charity today. I know your background specifically, which we're going to get into, is the research behind the work you're doing, which is a really interesting twist on some conversation that we normally don't get to have on Daily Drop-In. So, Sarah, I'm really appreciative you're here. I know it's so early, but I appreciate you joining the show.
No, thank you for having me. I was so excited to join.
Yes, it'll be so wonderful to get into some good dialogue here this morning. It is Tuesday, March 1st, and outside of birthdays, it's also like every holiday in the world. I'm excited later today to kind of highlight there are some Muslim holidays, some Hindu holidays today, but there's also an array of huge variety of goofy holidays, Sarah, that we'll be able to join kind of enjoy at the very end of our show. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we do our holidays and good news articles at the tail end of the show. But I will say I was scrolling through and it didn't seem to stop. It seemed like everybody today was looking for something to celebrate.
Well, what a good day then.
I know, it's going to be wonderful. So tell me a little bit. I know we're going to get into what the Roots of Empathy is. We're going to get into the work that you are specifically doing. But if someone's never heard of this charity, this community before, would you be able to give us some insight on what we're discussing here today?
Sure. So Roots of Empathy is a universal preventative program that takes place in classrooms, in elementary classrooms, over the course of an entire school year. So it's for children 5 to 13, and the program is delivered as 27 lessons over the course of the school year and brings a parent and a baby from the community into the classroom 9 times throughout the year, along with a trained instructor who delivers a curriculum that's based on the student's age. And it supports the entire program, supports the development of empathy, something called pro-social behaviors like helping, sharing, including, and it helps to reduce aggression, including bullying in children. And so the children kind of gather around this green blanket that we have in each of our programs, and through experiential questioning, they're coached by the instructor to sort of observe the baby's feelings and intentions in an invitational way. And this kind of acts as a bridge to understanding their own feelings. So the instructor kind of uses it as leverage to invite the children to reflect on a time when they felt like the baby. So they're able to not only reflect on their own feelings, but also to hear and see the feelings of their classmates, and to kind of understand that they're not really alone in their feelings. They may experience different things, but we all have the same feelings, and sort of that outcome leads to better mental health, and children are less likely to hurt one another when we all kind of understand that we're all similar. So that's just Roots of Empathy in a nutshell.
Yeah, no, what a wonderful little teaser here. I feel like I've never heard of this program, and I think it's so interesting that you're, as an organization, you're bringing in members of your community. You're bringing in a child, you're bringing in an adult, and then an instructor. 3 people from the community coming into an elementary school and facilitating learning, which I would love to learn when this might occur in a teacher's school day. Is there anything that the classroom teacher may need to know? Do they just get to be a learning participant? How does that work?
Yeah, the teacher plays a role as well in the program. We have specific curriculum, and we invite the teacher to participate in the program. So the instructor will always prepare the teacher ahead of the class. It can happen at any point in the school day. It depends on the classroom schedule and the teacher's schedule. But there's usually a family visit, which is the visit where the parent and the baby and the instructor come in, and then there's a pre sort of and a post family visit where they do the pre-learning and sort of the post reflection and consolidation of learning. So we have multiple themes over the course of the school year.
Yeah. So as we're learning today, I am confident that regardless of if our organization, our team here uses this group or not, I'm confident there's a lot to learn, which is very, very interesting. I know we have a lot of viewers kind of from all over the US and Canada that join us bright and early in the morning. But where is this organization located? And tell me a little bit about where, obviously we're in elementary schools, we're seeing this incredible opportunity here.
Yeah, well, it's kind of expanded over time. Mary Gordon, our founder, founded the program in 1996, and we started in Canada. We're in every province in Canada. We're in the UK. We are in New Zealand. We are in parts of the United States. We've been in Korea, Switzerland. We've been in Germany. I think I said the UK, but Northern Ireland, Scotland, Republic of Ireland, England. We're in Wales as well. So we're kind of all over the place. And it's grown over time. So it takes a lot for us to go into a community. So we go where we're wanted and where we're invited, and we build up from there, essentially.
Well, and Sarah, I appreciate you giving that overview, because as we hear about this opportunity that is provided to elementary schools, I know so many of us that are located all over are saying, yes, but is it for me? Is it for my community? Is this something that my students could either experience, or we could find some sort of way to duplicate this if that wasn't possible? And I always love to be able to share that these charities, these organizations that are dedicated to the health and wellness of our children are located all over the world. What an incredible opportunity. And your background within this organization is to kind of make sure it's working. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. And so I work with a team of researchers and curriculum staff. And so we kind of integrate curriculum and research. So we have 20 years of independent research, meaning university-based research on our program, but also my role is to help. We do an annual program evaluation every year. So we evaluate the feedback. Everyone in our program, including the children, submits feedback on their experiences with the program. And so we take a look at that and we evaluate the program to really understand what our impact is, what we're doing well, what we can improve upon, and what the actual impact is on the children and how the program's affecting them. And we do work with those sort of external university-based researchers as well that I mentioned to support them in conducting studies on the program, so that we understand not only the impact right after the program, but sort of in a long-term capacity. We have research that's 3 years post-program. So we know the impact that the program can have in a long-term manner. And so, yeah, the program really, if I can comment on that research a little bit, the results have been consistent because we've had research out of many different countries. We've had research in Northern Ireland, we've had it in Canada a few times, we've had it in Australia, Scotland, many places. And consistently, the results have really shown that Roots of Empathy reduces aggression and bullying in children. It increases those pro-social behaviors, like I mentioned before, like helping, including, sharing, and it increases empathy as well. And it also actually increases, children's knowledge of infant development as well. So.
No, I'm so excited to keep diving into this, especially during our brainstorm bank, because that's going to be a time where we can really look at how we can take this idea and connect it to our theme. Our theme this week is all about looking at research, which almost feels disconnected at times from our schools, and how we can put it into action steps. And right now, this is a perfect way to kick off the week of discussing readily available opportunities for us to create action steps in our schools. I think more often than not, we hear about, educational growth in specific areas. There's been research done on a specific topic. It always feels very distant in a way. And then we take that research and we say, okay, it looks like it was successful. Let's implement it in our schools, but we're not necessarily researching it when it's in our buildings. And as we look at the work that your charity is doing, we're not only seeing that it is research and data supported, but then it's continuously being reflected on and looked at to ensure that it's being successful in your building with your staff and your students, which is something that I really would love to see duplicated over time with all different types of instructional models and behavioral models. So Sarah, you are very timely this week. We're very
oh, good then. Yeah. Thank
you. Before we get into too much, we'll transition here because it's Tuesday into our brainstorm bank as our first segment of the morning. I want to give a big shout out to those of you who have shared this stream this morning, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, or LinkedIn, to celebrate that this discussion is going on. Maybe share a quote or something that you're learning thus far and encourage your community to tune in, whether it be live or, of course, after the fact. Sarah, we always take a moment to share a moment of gratitude early in the morning, something that we're thankful for, appreciative of. We use an app that's free called Happy Feed, which allows us to document once a day something that we are appreciative for, grateful for. And then what I really love about the app is that we're able to revisit those memories in a very, very creative way later on to kind of like look at all the fun moments that we've had on Daily Drop-In. Would you mind sharing with me as you're reflecting about maybe something that you're appreciative for? Is maybe it's this morning or earlier this week, something you're thankful for? I feel like that might be. And there is a hint category. Let me point out the hint this morning is you have opportunities to help someone today, ? Maybe someone helped you. So just to kind of spark that creativity. So anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, well, I'm actually really grateful for this opportunity to be on the show because we don't get as many chances to share the research about our program. So I hope that in some way that it can be of help to somebody at a school or who might be interested in learning about Roots of Empathy. So I'm actually very grateful for the opportunity to speak with you.
I love it. I'm going to save that. And that will be our submission for this morning. I appreciate you sharing that with us. We'll be right back here for Brainstorm Bank. Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Happy March 1st. I know we have a lot of birthdays in our community this morning. Happy birthday. We are headed into our Brainstorm Bank, which is an opportunity many of you are already aware of, where we are able to kind of pause and ask our community, hey, friends, on this early morning, do you need anything? This is a good time to brainstorm a struggle you're having with a student, maybe a behavioral concern that you are problem solving right now. This is a great time to also note something you're brainstorming that could be instructional related, colleague related, leadership related. we are yours to be brainstorm partners. Sarah and I definitely don't promise we have the answers, the perfect answers or solutions, but we'd love to be a partner in your brainstorming, hopefully try and direct you in one direction that can help you be successful. Sarah, our theme this week is all about looking at the data we have in front of us and being able to take those action steps, which is so aligned with your background and your work in the roots of empathy. So tell me a little bit about why research was something you became passionate about early on in your career.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I used to be a teacher, and I love working with children. And the more I became a special education teacher, actually, and so I became very, very interested in understanding how we can best help children in a way that is, um, you know, built on or research informed in some capacity, so that we know we're doing the right things, the current things to support children. And so I actually went and got my master's in research in psychology, and I was so fortunate to get involved in Roots of Empathy because it combines my two passions, education and research, and it allows me to sort of dive deeply into the roots of our program, and to understand exactly what is going on for children, because I think research is such an opportunity to not only understand, but to use it to do better and to do to move forward. So we revise our program every chance that we get, and we use that research and to help our program become even better over time. And so I think that's why I love research so much, is it answers a lot of questions. It also gives more questions, but I think it's part of that important cycle, especially when it comes to program delivery or supporting children in any capacity in a school, for example. So
We look at research all the time as educators. We want to ensure that we utilize best practices. We want to make sure that our students are being successful. And so we're constantly, as educators, collecting data, regardless of what our role is in schools. Can you tell me a little bit about what research means? Because research is so broad, at least in the vein that I've been able to see it. Sometimes it's extremely informal. Sometimes it's excessively formal. I know members of our community have master's degrees and doctoral degrees, and they've had to do, write thesis statements or write a dissertation. These are all research practices that we've used research to make conclusions, but at very level. So tell me a little bit about how you define research.
Yeah, I think you're right in saying that there are so many ways that we can collect data to conduct research of many different kinds. I think the way that we focus on research at Roots of Empathy is to try to best understand our impact. So that's the lens that we use. So we collect data, whether it's quantitatively, so we use surveys, or qualitatively, where we use artwork with young children to collect our data, to better understand what their experiences are. And so I think research is, sort of in a loose sense, a way to answer questions. It's a way to ask questions and then answer questions. And it can be done in many, many different ways. So I may be being a little bit broad here, but I think there are just so many ways to conduct research. You can conduct very strict and rigorous experimental studies, but you can also collect observational data, or you can collect feedback, for example, which is a component of our evaluation, and that's very different from a really rigorous study. But all of that information can be helpful to you and give you insight into the questions that you have. So that is sort of a broad answer, I guess.
No, it's a good answer, because as educators, like I said, we are constantly taking in information. We're scanning the classroom. We're looking at data that's turned in from formative and summative assessments. We're asking questions. We're evaluating students' answers. I mean, those in some regard, that's all research, right?
Of course, yeah. It's certainly helping you to understand what's going on in your practice and what's going on in your classroom and what's going on for children. And I think it's a continuous process. It never really ends. It's just kind of a continuous cycle. You ask a question, you collect whatever information you want to collect, and then you use it for a specific purpose. It doesn't just sit there. It helps you to move forward. It helps you to change your practice or to in our case, adapt our program or, focus in on a specific area that we didn't realize we needed to focus in on. So I think it can serve many different purposes.
It's so interesting as we're talking about research, it's really also a discussion on questioning. You kind of need
Yeah.
to know what you're looking to seek information on to be able to ask the right question, to be able to get the information and data so that you can interpret your success in that area.
Yeah.
How do you and your team decide the type of questions or research you're going to be collecting? Because as an educator, I think sometimes that is a disconnect where we don't necessarily always do a phenomenal job of connecting the questions we're asking and the type of information we're looking to gain. I can only assume that that is a huge part of your role.
It is very huge. Our annual program evaluation isn't sort of an experimental study in that sense, but it's more of an ongoing process where we're collecting feedback. And so what we do is we have program goals, and we look at those program goals and we try to develop questions based on those program goals. But one thing we have learned after many years of doing this is that the way we ask questions isn't necessarily the way that children interpret them. Like when they're young, it depends on, it's not just about whether they can read a question, it's about whether they can understand it. So we have very long discussions, and our team works directly with Mary Gordon on how we ask these questions and the words that we use. And we look at previous responses and previous results from previous years. And so we go through question by question by question and say, well, would a child understand this at this age or at that age? And so that's why we use artwork with really young children, because it's really not fair to ask a 7-year-old to fill out a survey. It's not as developmentally appropriate. And so all of these things are constant questions that we're asking ourselves to be able to revise and try something new, because I think it's really unique working with children specifically. And I imagine teachers run into these things all the time where you're like, how do I ask this question, or how do I do this in a way that they would understand it or that makes sense or is relevant to them? So it's a lot of conversation. It's a lot of looking back at what we've done and what we've gotten out of previous results and previous feedback, because we think it might be just sort of a phenomenon that's happening, or it's the way we're asking the question. And sometimes we're not really sure, and we have to try something new to figure it out.
So it's so interesting. When I think of research, I really thought that we were going to have a quite a prescribed discussion this morning, as we're getting into this concept of research, this work that you're so passionate about, especially supporting elementary students. We've gone into a lot of different skills that teachers utilize on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
When we talk about research, we're talking about questioning to try and collect information so we can make different or better decisions. Now we also have brought in this layer of how you ask the question and even the medium and modality in which you ask the question to ensure that you're collecting the information so you can make these decisions. I mean, this seems like a constant circling effect of being able to have a goal, deciding what questions you can ask to see how close you are to that goal, deciding from that point what medium and modality you need to use to try and ask the question in the first place, and then interpreting the information that you get to decide, did you get the result or data set to be able to be successful in what you were looking to accomplish, or do you have to start all over?
It's a cycle for us, really. It's year round, it never ends. And so we are continuously working. And this year we did kind of a big revision to our feedback surveys and questionnaires, because we developed an entirely new program in response to the pandemic, where we shifted our program online, and we call it our recovery program. So we couldn't have babies in the classroom during the height of the pandemic, and so we had to come up with a new way to deliver our program. So we deliver it primarily online, and that requires an entirely new way of collecting data or questions that we need to ask, because there's sort of many new factors involved in our program. Not just we've added some new content, but we've also changed the way we're delivering the program. So I think all of those things play a role in when you're collecting data of any kind. So yeah, it's a huge cycle, and it never really ends, honestly. But that's a good thing, I think.
No, I think so
Yeah.
too. And I wonder if as educators, we can set a goal for ourselves to be a little bit better in evaluating the research that we conduct on our own, and also thinking about the data that's accessible to us that we may not even be committing time to evaluating. I'm sure sometimes people are collecting all this information and they may not even know what to do with it or what the goals are for curating all that information. I think in classrooms we're constantly taking an inventory of
Yeah.
what students are understanding or what school areas in our buildings are being successful, and yet the action steps from that can be quite challenging. And as you reflect on your program, the adaptations you've been able to make, I assume that you guys have been able to be, relatively successful, because even with the world changing, you know your audience, your community
Yeah.
quite well, because you are constantly evaluating the information they're providing you, which is a huge blessing.
It is, and I think it has really helped us during this process and during this time, and having to kind of pivot to a new way of delivering and a new way of connecting with children. And I think we've worked really hard at looking back at what we know and trying to use it to move forward in a way that is helpful for children. And now this year, we're going to gain a whole new set of data. Some of it, qualitative, some of it quantitative, but all of it useful. So
I love it. I love it, Sarah. I do want to ask you to give us a final thought, kind of your
sure.
soapbox belief on all this. We have educators from all over the world tuning in this morning. Some of them are classroom teachers or instructional coaches or paraprofessionals, principals, assistant principals, directors of curriculum instruction, superintendents. We have a huge variety, and especially even on Tuesdays, because we take daily drop-in, and right at the conclusion of the show, we actually get to transition into our administrator mastermind, where we bring administrators together from all over. Wow. And they share resources and ask questions. So as we are kind of sharing our thoughts on getting started this week with the concept of research, I'd love for you to give us some insight, some major takeaway that you're hoping for our community to have. As you are thinking about that major takeaway that you may want to share with our community, I do want to give a very special shout out on this bright and early Tuesday morning. It is March 1st, and as you all know, that means proposals are open for our Teach Better conference. So we are going to play a really, really quick clip just to remind you about all the little pieces that have been coming out for our Teach Better conference happening October 14th and 15th. And we want to celebrate with you here today that you can now share your voice and your passion at this event. This event will not only be happening in October, but proposals will be open all month long and through the month of April. So we are here to celebrate with you. You have the next 2 months to figure out a number of different session options to celebrate your voice and your passion space with our community in Akron, Ohio in the fall. So Sarah, we'll be right back for that major takeaway.
Sure.
So right now, I want to know if you're ready to teach better.
That's the whole mission of this weekend.
Just being here ready to learn and grow and come together like this is awesome.
What are those small changes that can make you better tomorrow than you were today?
All the amazing speakers we have here, wow.
We have a ton of people here who are published authors, who are writing about education.
Let's get out there and teach better.
Sarah, it sounds like to me your passion space, this concept of research, and obviously the organization that you are a part of with Roots of Empathy would be a really good session to be able to teach our community not only how to ask questions, but how to interpret data. I think we're gonna have to craft to submit.
Absolutely, yeah.
For those of you who are interested in submitting a proposal, adding your name to our lineup, and obviously sharing your voice at this event, please head over to teachbetterconference.com. Again, you have all month and another month after at the end of April to be able to share your voice. But if anybody needs any feedback or help with their session, our team is curating together a lot of tips and tricks. And we also will have a course coming out later this month for those of you who are just looking for a little bit more guidance on how to speak at conferences in general, but hopefully it will help with the Teach Better conference as well. Sarah, right before we played that commercial, we were discussing wanting to give our community something tangible that they can think through as an action step. Tell us a little bit about what you really want to ensure our community leaves this morning with in their minds.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking about that briefly, and I think the concept of research can feel a little bit daunting at times. And, but in the classroom, for example, you don't need to conduct a whole study to gather information and to answer questions. It can simply be done through observation, or, one thing we try to do at Roots of Empathy is give children an opportunity to share and to share what they know. And that tells us everything that we need to know. So it's simple little things, I think, that you can do, whether, it's in the classroom or in our program. We just collect feedback. We don't necessarily do a big, huge study every single year on our programs. We're just collecting information and want to know how the children are doing. And I think that can be done in so many ways, whether it's a teacher can do it in their own classroom. They probably do it every day just by watching their students, or taking a look at what their students are working on, or asking their students questions. And all of that is data. All of that is information that you can use. So I just wanted to sort of share that I think that that's really valuable, whether it's sort of on the extreme end of sort of experimental research, or just making observations in your classroom. Every single way to collect data has value and is important for your work and moving forward. So, because we meet people often that are intimidated by research, but I don't think you need to be in that sense, because there are so many ways that you can collect information and answer questions that you might have that are so important and so relevant to the work that you do, and that can help children in so many ways.
I love that takeaway, Sarah. I think the reminder that we don't need to be intimidated by research is so incredibly valuable. And also the reminder that we as educators in the classroom level, in the building-based level, at a district-based level, have the opportunity to really utilize the voices of our schools, the voices of our classrooms, the voices of our districts, to be able to say, what information are we looking to accomplish? What are our goals? And we can continuously track that we're on the right track. So I really appreciate these reminders, Sarah. This is really wonderful. For those of you who are looking for a tangible challenge this morning, I'd love for you to walk into your day today, wherever you are headed into, school building, classroom, district level, anywhere in between in that whole school ecosystem, and really reflect on what questions you are asking and what data you're collecting when you ask those questions. All of our questions are leading to data curation, and the question is, what are you doing with it, or are you even aware of what data you're collecting throughout your day? So even as you walk into school buildings and say good morning or ask somebody how they're doing, their response is giving you information. What can we do with that incredible power? And Sarah, I so appreciate you being able to share with us some challenges and to really look at research from a feet on the ground level, because I am such a fan of the work that your organization's doing, ensuring that we are creating these safe spaces to allow students to learn and develop their skill of empathy.
Oh, thank you. I think it's been such a great way to share our experiences, so I appreciate the opportunity to do so.
Sarah, I do want to have you share your contact information later on in the show. However, if people want to learn specifically about what we've been able to discuss thus far, where can they go to learn more about this charity?
Sure, we have a website, and it shares about our program. We share, the artworks from some of our kids from our programs. We have an artwork gallery. We have a research page. We have lots of videos as well. We have a YouTube channel. So you can visit our website at www.rootsofempathy.org, and you'll be able to find everything there. So.
I love it. See, we all now have a little to-do list to go research, to go look into this group. And I really appreciate you being able to share all this. We're going to transition here into some holidays and some good news for the day, Sarah, as we continue to kind of wrap up this early Tuesday, celebrating the beginning of March. Are you good to start celebrating with us?
Absolutely. Yes.
All right. We'll be right back to start in with some holidays. Good morning, everyone. We are excited to be wrapping up our show today, this morning, with the Daily Drop-In Morning Show. Sarah, it's been so fun to be able to discuss research, your connection to education, and how you're collecting data to ensure that Roots of Empathy, as a organization that exists all around the world is successful in our schools. So I'm so appreciative of the discussion we've been able to have thus far. This segment is all about celebrating holidays. I know bright and early at the beginning of our show, we had someone mention it was their birthday today, which is so exciting. We love celebrating birthdays, but we also have a ton of March 1st holidays. I don't know why today is so full of celebration, but I'm game for it. Sarah, sometimes I log in and look at our holidays and we have like 1 or 2 holidays, like 50, there's so many.
Well, it's a really special day then, isn't it?
Apparently. So if it's your birthday today, or if you're even a March birthday, late February birthday, this is just adding on to the birthday celebration because it just keeps going. So I'm going to do my best, Sarah, to try and list as many as possible because obviously some holidays resonate with us differently, but I'd love to get your thoughts on if you think you'll celebrate some of these. The first one is that it is World Pancake Day. Are you a pancake lover?
Oh, I would love to eat pancakes. Maybe I'll do that right after this.
I think that's a good idea because today is a day to go eat pancakes. It's also World Peanut Butter Lovers Day, so maybe you can add peanut butter to your pancakes. On the flip side of our discussion today with the roots of empathy, I'm not sure if you knew this, but it is Baby Sleep Day. So looking at getting our children to sleep well and monitoring their behaviors while they sleep. What an interesting connection to our discussion this morning.
Very interesting, definitely.
Oh, I love that. For those of you that are celebrating, it's also a very, very, very fun holiday today. It is Fat Tuesday. It is Mardi Gras. So for those of you that are in St. Louis or Chicago or New Orleans or all the places where all the big celebrations happen, Mardi Gras is such a fun opportunity to come together and celebrate. So I do wish I was in New Orleans today. I think that would be quite a good time.
Would definitely.
Moving on to some other holidays that might be happening in your schools or communities that are always fun to celebrate. There is Independent Movement Day, which is happening in South Korea. There is an Islamic holiday happening this morning about the journey of Prophet Muhammad, which is a wonderful opportunity to learn more about somebody else's culture. If that's not something that you are choosing to celebrate, this could be a day that you could learn and celebrate with others. It is also a day of prayer in the Hindu holiday or Hindu religion, which I think is so wonderful. I cannot wait to do some research and how we can immerse ourselves in that very, very important day. It's also National Black Women in Jazz Day. Holy moly, I'm such a jazz fan. I cannot wait to celebrate today by putting on some good music. Sarah, are you a jazz fan?
I do enjoy it. Yeah, I don't know a ton about it, but it's a beautiful music.
Hey, isn't that we can go learn about it today. I love this.
There's learning to do.
So good. It's also National Pig Day, National Sportsmanship Day. That sounds like a great opportunity to bring that into our schools, talk about sportsmanship.
Absolutely.
It is Wedding Planning Day. I mean, I'm not planning a wedding. Sarah, I don't know if you're planning a wedding, but apparently this is a national holiday. If you have a wedding coming up, maybe this is your reminder to get planning. It's also Self-Injury Awareness Day, which is a wonderful opportunity to become aware of that. Share a Smile Day, St. David's Day, World Civil Defense Day, World Compliment Day. I mean, how great is that? World Compliment Day. We could all share a compliment with someone that we interact with today, Sarah.
Absolutely.
It's also World Music Therapy Day, Yap Day, and of course, Justin Bieber's birthday, which of course is, I'm sure who was commenting in our group earlier, it must have been Justin Bieber saying that it was his birthday today.
It must have.
Additionally, we always love to share a good news story for the day. I actually thought this good news article was something that personally I thought was just so neat, but also something that we can share as a fun fact when trying to foster relationships with friends and colleagues, or even something to bring to our students today. Sarah, I wonder if you find this interesting. Today is the 150th birthday. Talk about birthdays today. It's 150th birthday today for the first national park in the U.S., which is Yellowstone, known by many names over the years. This is kind of a big day in history because Yellowstone National Park was officially, named today. This is the birthday. So 150 years. That's wonderful.
Cool. Yeah.
Shout out to those of you who have ever been to a national park. Definitely something worth exploring. There are over 127 Native American tribes that have historical history in this park. And for over 10,000 years, before Yellowstone even became a park, this is a place where many, many Native Americans lived, hunted, fished, gathered plants, and obviously the home to thousands of animals. So for those of you who are eager to bring kind of some information to students today, that could be a wonderful opportunity to be able to look at the history, look at the people and the incredible animals that have existed in this space. And hopefully someday we can all make to a national park. I love being able to be out into the outdoors. Sarah, do you like a good day outside?
I like a good hike. Yes. I love being in nature.
It was really beautiful where I'm located. I'm in the Chicagoland area. It was really wonderful weather yesterday. Kind of nice for a walk. Maybe, Sarah, we should try and do a hike today.
I know, it would be great. It's quite, I'm in Toronto area. It's quite cold here today, to be honest, but it's still worth getting out.
I think it's all relative, right? I said it was beautiful yesterday, but it was like 45 degrees. And I think it was only nice because it was sunny. So
yeah,
if
it helps.
Like, if it was over the summer, 45 degrees, it'd be like, oh, it's terrible outside, right?
True, but now we just want any bit of sunshine we can get.
Yeah, you're right. Any bit of sunshine that doesn't have like the crisp wind that like goes straight through you. It kills you, right? Like yesterday was a calm, sunny day, so I'll take it.
Yeah, fingers crossed,
Sarah,
right?
Fingers crossed that we all have good weather today. Sarah, I would love to have you share your contact information again for those people tuning in that want to learn more about the Roots of Empathy.
Sure. Yep. I'm happy to share. Our website is www.rootsofempathy.org. And my email is slane@rootsofempathy.org. So feel free to reach out to me, or there are many contacts on our website as well. So.
I love it. Sarah, thank you so much for coming live with us Tuesday morning, March 1st. We just had proposals open for our conference officially. We announced one of our keynotes yesterday for this event. Early bird registration is officially closed. So now we have full price tickets that we're encouraging everybody to grab a friend, grab a colleague, and go sign up for. And Sarah, it was so nice for you to be able to come on the show and make such strong connections between research and questioning and the way that we deliver questions and get answers. I really appreciate this dialogue and this really good reminder this morning as we head into a week focused on data and research curation in our schools. So thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I've really, really enjoyed speaking with you.
So wonderful. For everybody here, we hope that you have an absolutely amazing Tuesday. We also want to encourage you that if you are a leader or an administrator in any way, shape, and form in your buildings, we'd love to encourage you to go register for our admin mastermind that happens once in the morning and once in the evening for the Teach Better community. We'll be headed in here at the top of the hour to our AM session, and then we have our afternoon session after school hours later today. You can find out all the information on our admin mastermind by going to teachbetter.com/mastermind. And of course, if you guys need anything, Sarah and I would love to be here to support you in any way, shape, or form. So thank you so much. Please enjoy your last few sips of coffee. Sarah, I hope we stay connected. I really appreciate the work you're doing. And we will say goodbye and see you all a little bit later. Bye, friends.